Oh boy, we are going low rent today. Fellas, I'm playing injured. Those of you that have been watching the channel for a while know that I suffered a catastrophic eye injury. Today is August 10th, 2023, and I have been unable to make regular content. And I've got an itch, man. I've got that gaming itch to scratch. And a friend of mine over on the Twitbox, although it's not called the Twitbox anymore, is it? What do we call it? It's called X, so I can't call it the Xbox. That would be confusing. Maybe we'll call it the Muskbox. I don't know. On the site formerly known as Twitter, a friend of mine, he goes by the handle Alchemic Raker. He did something very interesting, and I thought, man, that looks like a lot of fun. I want to try that. And I am not going to take credit for what we're about to do tonight. I'm just going to point out that you should go follow Alchemic Raker. I don't know if he's part of the Bro SR or not, but he certainly has signed on to a lot of our ideas. This, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Gary Gygax hit it out of the park day one, and it took us 40 years to realize the genius of, well, I mean, we knew there was genius here, but it took 40 years for people to play this game as it's written and discover some of the delightful nuances that it contains. And I thought it might be kind of fun to go through some of the mini games. As you know, this is one game, but it contains a host of little mini games. And I've actually tried to do what we're going to do tonight, and I crashed and burned because I was too ambitious. And I did it off camera, thankfully, because it would have been embarrassing if we did it live. Again, to reiterate, I'm going live for a couple of reasons. One, for credibility. I want to show you guys how this works, how we can actually play this game solo, and how we can enjoy ourselves, and how, if you're just willing to take a deep breath, right, sublimate, keep yourself nice and what's the word, sanguine, you can power through this game and have a lot of fun. You can also play it solo, and that's what we're going to do. And along the way, there'll be a little bit of editorializing about Dungeons and Dragons in general. But here's the thing. If you're going to play this game solo, you need a campaign world. And fortunately, the Dungeon Master Guide here contains a nice little mini game. How you can develop wilderness adventures on your own. And you can use this to generate a campaign. Now, when I tried this just as an experiment on downtime, I went too big. I went like 10 by 10 and 30-mile hexes. That's 300 by 300. And it was way too much information, and I kind of got bored, and so I just shelved it. But Alchemic Raker, he decided he was going to do the same thing, but he used a 6 by 6 grid. It's just 36 hexes. He used 24-mile hexes. So let me write that down here right off the bat. What we were going to do is build ourselves a little campaign map. Now, and here's where we begin with the solo wargaming aspect of this. The goal here is to create enough information that we've got some stuff to explore, but we need to know what's here, and so there's a balancing act. How much stuff do you design so that you can make decisions versus how much stuff can you leave undesigned, unexplored for later so that you can surprise yourself? And ultimately, what we're going to do, yes, Cornish Crusade, we are doing solo war games. Lara the Lich, he has shown up. Mr. Wargame going to hit us with some Bro SR knowledge. And, it's a live stream. So you guys, I'm going to try to incorporate your guys' suggestion as much as possible. So as I was saying, I went with 30 by 10 across is like 300 miles by 300 miles. Just too much information. So today we're going to do, now Alchemic Raker, he did 6 by 6, and that's much more manageable. As you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've actually got 7 by 6, and I did that for purely aesthetic reasons. I suppose I could have, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you know what? I even screwed up my map. It's going to be 5, 15 plus 28. See, because we've got 7 by 4, so 28 plus 15. Doing math on the fly is really hard. 28 plus 15 is going to be 43. So I've got 43 hexes altogether. And this is going to be, again, because they're about 24 miles hexes, call it 25. We're looking at 175 miles by 150 miles. It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. Good size. But we got to take a look at, first thing we're going to do is we're going to generate terrain. And we're going to take a look at the solo. Oh, and again, one of these days I'm going to learn that Post-it notes are your friends. And of course, if you hear the boop In the background, the whistling, I've got birds. Not a smoke alarm that's got dead batteries. Oh, one more thing I'll point out. I know we're just 5 minutes into this. It's August 10th. Over the last day or two of the city of Lahaina over on Maui in Hawaii. You know, I'm a Honolulu bro. Lahaina got torched. There's 100 miles of open ocean between me and Maui. So I'm doing fine. The Wargaming family is doing good. We're looking for ways that we can help our fellow Hawaiians a couple of counties over. But we're good here. So good, we're going to do a little bit of solo RPG play. And the first thing we need to do is figure out our... here we go. Outdoor random monster encounters. But that's not actually what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the random outdoor adventures. I think... Did I not go far enough? Oh, man. All right. So let me grab this page. You'd think I would have thrown a bookmark in here, but what are you going to do? Right, so the goal here, now everybody knows that it's pretty common, the random dungeon. If we take a look here on page 169, Gary says, oh, you know, this is suitable for, where is it? When you need help designing a dungeon, whether it's a level, the following system requires time and can be used directly in conjunction with actual play. Likewise with the wilderness, but there are a couple of things you have to keep in mind if you're generating wilderness adventures. Randomly. And the first is that these, where are we at? Castle subtable. I'm getting warmer, I can tell. I'm somewhere in the random tables. Blue-skidoo. We gotta sit down on a thinking chair and think. This is why, you know, this is why I much prefer to pre-record and then edit all this stuff. Talk amongst yourselves. City, town. I'm close. I know I'm close. These are the random encounters. You guys know what page it's on? Does anybody have it handy? I've got castle encounters. I know it's before that. Monster levels. Monster adjusted. Tricks, traps. And then artifacts. It's after that. It's one of these appendices. Oh, you know what I could do? You know what I could do that you can't do in a lot of modern books? I could check the... See, look, we got an index here. That would be helpful. Or thrilling content here. Random wilderness terrain. There we go, page 173. I knew I was close. I just couldn't find the right table. So I'm going to read you a little bit out of this because there's some things we have to address. The first is, hey, how about that rune quest? Okay, later for that. I thought it was from Florida, to be honest. When you find it, can you tell us the paragraph number? Says, oh boy, I lost it. I wonder if I could turn those on. Live chats. All messages are visible. Yeah, I'm going to leave those up there, okay? Larry the Lich, can you tell us the page number? Going to follow along and bookmark my guide. You always thought it's happening. I always thought Mr. Wargaming was from New York. I'm originally from Michigan. Sometimes you'll hear me slip into a little bit of that Midwestern accent, eh? Maybe he's lying. Maybe he's just a humble bee farmer from Iowa. Yeah, it's all part of the act, guys, right? It's all part of the magic. So we're here on page 173, and we are looking at random monster encounters, random dungeon. Wait a minute. Random monster encounters. Where'd my random terrain go? It said page 174. Number of characters in party. Level of multi-class. There's a specific table that I'm looking for. Maybe that's what I should be looking for. They have a list of the tables back here. Absolutely thrilling content, I know. Or maybe they don't. God, son of a gun, man. I'm just going to have to find this. This is what happens when you have a one-eyed guy. Random wilderness terrain is page 173, but I can't find it on page 173. I know the exact page, and I still can't find it. By the way, I got my laptop over here. You can see I've got it lined up for Google, and you can see I'm missing a bunch of keys. This is how your computers look when you own a lot of birds. Give me 1 second. Hey, cover those birds. Thank you. I love being a dad. Random, here, Appendix B. Man, if it was a snake, it would have bit me. See the lovely little art? Do you know how long? It took me an embarrassing amount of time to realize this party and this art. See the dwarf and the lady and the little hobbit and the fighter type? Here they are again. You've got your dwarf, you got your lady, you got your. In fact, these guys, well, he swapped for a bow. It's the same party. I think they show up a couple of other pictures in this. Anyway, here's where we're at. Random wilderness terrain. If a wilderness expedition moves onto an area where no detailed map has been prepared in advance. Okay, now that's the first problem we got, right? This is assuming that you're the DM and your players have moved into the wilderness and you haven't prepared anything. So the way this process works, you're going to use, this can be used with relative ease for 1 space equals 1 mile or larger. Common sense must prevail. So we do have a little bit of, if it doesn't make sense, you're going to have to kind of fudge things a little bit. And I guess we got to do a little editorializing. We are going to try to play this as by the written rules as written as possible. Whenever we sit down to play AD&D solo, I need you guys to not freak out on me. The people over on Twitter are always looking for the gotcha. Oh, you didn't play it as written. If I get something wrong, it's not because I didn't. It's not because I deliberately chose to play a game that's not this game. I just forgot a rule, okay? There's hundreds of pages here. It's really complex. So, don't be a spaz, right? And this is what we're talking about. So the way that this works, you've got your empty hexes here, yeah? And what you do is, okay, so let's assume that our party has already been wandering through, and I, as the DM, haven't mapped out. We're here in the plains, and they move into this hex here. I will say, okay, well, if I'm leaving the plains, then we've got this fun little table here where we roll a d20, and on a 1 through 11, this is what's genius about this random wilderness table. If you are already in the plains and you're moving into the plains, you are likely to stay in the plains. Actually, got to come down here, right? So on a 12, you'll go on to scrub. And on a 13, you will go to forest. And on a 14, so there's a better than 50% chance that if you're already in the plains, you're going to stay in the plains, right? Very rare that you're going to, maybe a depression. If you're in the scrub, look, you're going to, the scrubs are not very common. But oh no, look at that. See scrub, 4 through 11. So what is that, 8? So you're 40% likely to stay in the scrub. So as you move through the map, you are 50% likely to find the same kind of terrain in the new hex that you had in the old hex. What do we do here? Well, I think the answer is simple. I'm going to designate this spot right here. And I'm going to roll a d20 3 times. And I'm going to say that this is grassland that we're starting in. And then I'm going to roll for these 3 squares, and we'll see if all 3 of these are grassland. Easy peasy. We should set up a little bit of a background here. We are in that classic Dungeons & Dragons milieu. There was a big, powerful, wealthy empire 500 years ago that collapsed. The empire we've gone through the collapse, so the strongman rule is the order of the day. We've gone through the warlord phase, and things have kind of settled down and gelled. Well, it's 1,000 miles by 1,000 miles. It's an empire that conquered the world. And as we begin our campaign, we are in an area where the kingdoms have gelled. Okay, you've got your France and your Britain and all of those failed, all of those like provinces of the empire are now independent kingdoms. And so maybe we've got one north, south, east, and west. And this area that we're looking at right here has gone feral. For some reason, nobody has moved in and settled and claimed this territory. This is going to be our goal. We want to explore whatever ruins we can find in here. And maybe there's some holdouts. Maybe there's a few little settlements that we can discover, and we can maybe take them over, right? Maybe we can move into the domain game. But for now, we still need the map. But that's kind of the general idea of this campaign that we're running. We may even start out in here. Maybe there's a village in here, and our party starts in that village, and that village has decided we're going to make a play to become a kingdom in our own right. For today, we're going to start with plains. Pretty common. We're going to have some grasslands. And so just like I said, we're going to roll the die 3 times, the d20. Bang, bang, bang. And we're going to get a 10. And as I said, 1 through 11, 9, and 19. So we know this is grass. And we know this is grasslands, and checking our table, the 19 means that we have a pond. Now we have a pond, it's the exact same terrain, and we've got a fairly large body of water here. We're actually going to call that a lake. How big is it? I don't know yet. We haven't really explored that. But we now have grassland in these 3 hexes, and now I can roll on the partial hexes. These are out of our campaign world. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes that I can roll. So again, we've got 20. In fact, I could probably write these down to make it a little easier. 20. Oh, no, we know what that is, right? Because we just, oh, that's a depression. So I'm going to put that here. But that means we're still in grassland. And then the 9 means more grass. The 20 means a depression, more grass, and a 16. So we have another depression. Now, that may be a lake, but I know we're still in grasslands. And then this, what was it, 16 we said? Coming down on the plains, that 16 means we have some hills. So our first break in, and I'm just going to put the little hills like that. We could even write that out. Now, when we're done generating this terrain, we are going to do settlements. We are going to do kingdoms. And then we'll probably shut it down right there. Don't worry about the party right now because I want an opportunity to go back and color these and probably, make a digital map using one of the online generators. But let's go ahead and find out. We're going to start on this side now because we've got hills. I want to see what happens when we roll. And we're going to go out from these two for sure. We're going from hills to hills. So for here, we've got a 9. And for here, we've got a 15. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. So if you are in hills, you look here and you come down. So that 9 means, no surprise, we've got more hills. And the 15 means we've got our first marshland. So isn't that interesting that we've got a marsh right down here in this corner. And that must be some kind of a physical barrier, the hills as well, between, whatever kingdoms are down in this area. If we like the idea. Now, here's where, as a solo wargamer, you have a little bit of leeway to influence the dice rolls. For this hex, I already know that I've got grasslands here and hills here. So if I decide, so I actually have a choice. Do I want to go hills or do I want to go grassland? And I think I'm going to start here, actually, and I'm going to roll for hills right there. Let's see what we got. On a 15... again, we are in hills, and on a 15, once again, we have mountains. So we'll go with the ubiquitous mountains, nice big jagged peaks there. And now I have another option. If I think I want mountains here, now I don't have absolute control, but I can say, do I want to have grasslands or hills or more mountains? And I think let's try hills. Let's stick with the hills over there. And with the result of an 18 on the hills, we've got another pond. So we've got hills with a pond. And how big is that pond? Where is it located in our 24-mile hex? I'm not entirely sure just yet. We'll get there. I'm going to go to this hex next with the mountains. And when you go from mountains, look at that. We rolled a 1 on the mountains, so we've got more plains. Let's see what we got here. Now we're coming from the plains. Rolling an 11, we've got more grasslands there. And coming here from the grasslands, we get a 12. And it doesn't matter which grasslands we come from. That 12 is going to be plains. 12 is going to be scrub. So we've got some kind of a wasteland there. And look at that. We're already doing good. What about right here, past the depression? We're still in the hills. We've got the plains down south, apparently. Coming up north, we've got more plains. And again, we've got a lot of grasslands here. Now, these grasslands, I probably should have designated 19. I already rolled. I'm going to call this 19 because I think it'll be fun. That is another lake in our grasslands. So what's nice is we already have some idea of what this southern portion of our terrain looks like. We're going to be in the grasslands mostly. In fact, wherever we go here, unless we move out from the scrub, you want to see what happens when we roll on the scrub chart? Here's the scrub. Let's go due north from the scrub and see what we find. When you are in the scrub, that's the second one. A 13 means you've got a forest. So we have our first woods right here, and I'm just going to put a couple of little trees there. And now if we want to try our luck and say, I think I really want to see some large forests up here, we can go north, and that's what I'll do. I'll roll on the forest chart now. We've got a new version for that. And when you are in the woods and you roll a 13, look at that. 5 through 14 is going to give you more woods. So we have, and now we could go north again, but I'm Bradford Walker. Looks like a map of the Minnesota Lake Country. Very true. Very true. Now, one thing that I am disappointed in, if you get the lakes adjacent to each other, like if this lake had been here, we can make one large lake Gary actually says combine those. Now, the Finger Lakes region, for those of you that don't know, in Minnesota, you get these little depressions that are linked by little streams because it's been blasted out by the glaciers, 50,000 years ago. Gary says don't do that. Well, I mean, Gary says a lot of things. And remember, he also says discretion must be applied. If you've got like 3 lakes surrounding a desert, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And he even says, the depression, you could make this a lake in its own right. But I'm thinking we may wind up making this depression. What do we got? We got a depression here and here. I'm thinking we may make this like a valley. Kind of like what do they call that in Africa? Like in Africa, there's areas where you got the grassland, and there's just like an escarpment that goes down and then back up. So that may influence how you move across the map, right? Because if you've got these two depressions or great valleys, now suddenly you're not going to be able to traverse this way. You're going to have to go around, and it adds another day worth of travel to your journey. At any rate, we are still, what do we want to do here? I want to see what's up here. I'm going to try to fill in this corner first. So we're going from the forest. We'll see how big that forest is. And with a result of a 9, what did we say? Yep. So we got some big woods up here. And I'm going to go here and here. So on an 8, we've got woods. And on a 17, so we got more woods here. And on 17, the woods is going to be more mountains. So those mountains must mark the boundary between our northern kingdom and our eastern kingdom. I'm going to roll here. Coming out of the mountains this time, when you're in the mountains and you roll a 13, you've got more mountains. And we like mountains because that's a good place for caves to be. And what about right here? Do we have a whole mountain chain with a result of a 9? No, we don't. We just have some hills. So it's a little rougher up here in the northeast portion of the map. Coming here from the hills to 12 is going to be 12 more hills. So we got a boundary up here. What about right here? 13. Hills to, what do we got? Hills to hills. 13. Still in the hills. And then what about this? I'm coming from the forest this time. We'll see if we have like a little chain of forests along the hills. And with a 12, we do once again have a forest. We got a pretty substantial forest here. Look at this. This forest is 100 miles across and anywhere from 25 to 50 miles deep. I'm coming from the scrub. Let's see what the boundary is. On the scrub with a result of a 6, yeah, look at that. We got more scrub. So it's going to be a little drier. It's going to be a little rougher. Not quite as nice. It'll be interesting to see if there's ruins in there. Finding out why the ruins are there could be interesting. Anyway, right here, we're in the plains. Coming from the plains, a 12 is going to be more scrub. I'm actually really impressed with how we've gone from grasslands to scrub. Let's go from scrub up to here again. 13 in the scrub is more forest. Wow, it's all working out good. We got bands of stuff. What about here from the forest? Forest to here is going to be a 6, is going to be, yep, more forest. So we got a nice little chain, and then let's see if we can finish off the forest. We're going to go here and then here, regardless of what the results are. With a 6, it's going to be woods, and then this one coming out of the woods, a 7 is going to be another woods. So we have a whole belt of woods. What about coming out of the hills? Do we have more hills on a 17? That's going to give us a marsh. And then this last one coming out of the marsh. Oh, we haven't rolled on the marsh yet, have we? So if we go to marsh, we come down to 10, we find we've got more marsh. There you go. And now we have a reason that we want to try to claim this area. With all of these hills and marsh and forest in the way, if we can build a road that unites north and south, maybe we can build a nice little trading empire. How does that sound? We do have 2 more squares, and I'm going to go ahead and roll coming out of the grasslands for here and the grasslands for there. We get an 18 and a 20, so we get another marsh, and we get another depression. So there you go. We've got our big lake over here that acts as a bit of a boundary, and with a marsh right there. Now, there's a couple of other things we have to deal with before we move on from this. A couple of things Gary says, I'm not even going to try. He says, let me see if I can find it here. I'm going to read chapter and verse. And again, as the party enters each space, generate a number, find the type of terrain and roll it down. Well, I mean, you can do that, but here's where the other thing gets fun: terrain guide, plains. We haven't established where this is at yet, right? If we were looking at a northern climb, it wouldn't be plains; it would be tundra or savanna, prairie, right? Could be the moors. Likewise with each of these, rough are going to be badlands, hills. So that's one thing we know right off the bat. Like this scrub is going to be really dry. We've got a marsh there, and we've got a couple of canyons here. So the way this works in solo role-playing, once you commit to the bit, once you write down what you've done, it's canon. Like it's not canon until the ink hits the paper. Once the ink hits the paper, it is. So the question becomes, I think we can at least say that there is a river, that this marsh, I mean, this is almost like we're going to have a mile of like, maybe what we should do, why don't we go ahead and make this the coastline? Like this. Instead of a lake, we're going to call this a bay. And that way, we've got like 50 miles of coast here that is, and we'll make this a saltwater marsh. So the question becomes, what's feeding the saltwater marsh? It must be a river of some sort, right? Water flows from high to low. So we know our rivers are going to be flowing in this direction, and we may need to build a bridge to get over that river. That may be part of our adventure. But we're not there yet. If a pond is indicated, the next thing we have to do is work out habitation. Check each space for the possibility of inhabitation. Use random numbers, 0 to 100. And so you roll on this little table here, and it's uninhabited on a roll of 17 or greater. Now, here's how we're going to do this. To speed things along, I am not going to roll percentile dice 43 times. That would be ridiculous. Instead, I'm going to go over here, and this is why I have my grotty piece of junk PC over here. And I should point out, I don't mind showing you guys. Look, we all struggle with not enough time to game. And, a lot of YouTube guys like to present the facade. A lot of these guys, childless weirdos, they've got a room above the garage. They've got all kinds of space. I really like Jim Alzarski. He runs with the Armchair Dragoons. He does all of his stuff online. He's doing Tabletop Simulator. And sometimes you can hear the family life in the background. And I like that. When I'm watching these things and guys are playing like Hex Encounter games and you hear the dog barking in the yard, I think that's fantastic. It really helps me feel like, I'm hanging out with one of my friends. Those of you guys that have these channels, don't be so embarrassed about, what your setup looks like, because, this is what we're here for. We're here for the games, right? And, life has all of its adventures on its own, and it's kind of fun to see that little peek into the window of other people's houses. And this is mine. I don't have any keys on my keyboard. Now, I peeled off the grotty, screen cover here just before the video started. So here's what we can do to speed things along. This is, you just go to Google, and if you just enter into Google, roll 2d6, it'll do that for you. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say roll percentile, just to show you how this works. It didn't. Let's go back. I thought there was a way that you could do this, that you roll D100. Add a modifier. You can't. All right, well, we'll just have to find someone else who can do it. Roll D100. And you can even tell it, so we're going to go to roll a die. And as I said, to speed things along, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it, hey, roll 43 times. Wait, am I going to say 43 times? Do we need to worry about an inhabitation in these two squares? I think we do. Tell you what we're going to do. These squares, if they have, look at that. See, I rolled a 24 accidentally. So if these squares have a habitation, we'll put it on the shores just inside. All right? And if the marsh does, we'll probably put it here, maybe like some swamp village, maybe a Nob-style group of degenerates. So here we go, 1 to 100. I'm going to roll 43 times. And I'm going to go right down the list, 1 through 7, blah, 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 right down. And I'm just going to look for any results that are less than 17. Can you see that? I don't know if you can even see that. So we got it. So, oh boy, and this might not work out so great because we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh boy. All right, so that's not going to work out so well, is it? What we're going to do? I already rolled. We're going to stick with it. So this 15, we're going to count 66, 99, 66, 99. I wish there was a better way to look at that. Maybe I should find a better one. I don't like this. I don't like the way they're showing it. Can we do options? Show totals only? Nah, we don't want that. Show last roll only? No, that's no good either. I want to find a dice roller that will just like list all 43 of them. Because if I have to count like 1, 2, 3, and then I lose track, I mean, you guys get it. You guys understand what I'm getting at here. Try to make it as easy as possible. D100 dice roller. So the last throw is a 4. I can only roll one at a time here. Boo, whore. Any of you guys in the chat have a suggestion? What was a better dice roller that I could use? How to roll a D100? Or should I just go ahead and roll it 43 times? Since, that would make it easier, right? And I guess what we could do, roll D100 43 times. We'll Google that and see if that'll do it. No, that's not helping me out either. That just rolled the regular D6 43 times. Oh, there's some gross ads. We don't want to see that. Where's that, psoriasis? Ew. Yeah, forget it. We're gonna go old school. I have percentile dice, and it's really easy because we can just point and we can just keep rolling. And what I'm gonna do right now, I know I need Excel for this, right? Because you just use the random function. I don't have Excel. I'm cheap. This is my home computer, and I don't dare use my work computer because sometimes the government gets mad. All right, this won't take that long. I tell you what I am going to do though. I'm going to roll it on the player's handbook because it's going to clatter and it's going to be really loud and obnoxious if I don't. And remember, we're only interested in results of 1 through 16. It's too late, guys, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we get. Oh, that's a 2. And what I'll do is I'll just write down, we got an O2 here. So that third one is 39. You know, the other thing we can do is the fourth one, I can just roll this. Bing, bing, bing. Because if it's 0 or 1, if it's not 0 or 1, it's not going to be 17, right? So we're here, 40, 90, 80, 30, 10. All right, there's a chance. 15, here we go. There's something else up north. And then we roll down here. We got 6, 60, 90, 50, 40, 30. We're not doing so hot. We get it to, here we go. We got a 10. We get a 16. So there's stuff up north. 90. We're in the scrub. 70. In the valley. 20, 80. Oh, 0, 0. What is going on here, man? 0, 4. I think I know which side of the map we're going to start on. 10, 14. Hey, these are the way the random generators work. 10, 16. Scrub. Okay, I rolled them both that time. 40, 40. And then this last one, the lake, we get an 80. We get a 40, 40, 40, 0, 0. All right, we're going to get something here. We get a 0, 6 here in the pond in the hills. Now we're down here in the hills, 40. We just have 7 to go. 50, 50, 60, 80, 50. The hills are a 30, and this marsh down here is a 30. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 settlements, and they are mostly up north, except there's one down here. Why are we so heavy in the north? I don't know. But we look at the chart here, and so we have a 0, 2, which is a single dwelling. So we have a single little hut right here. Maybe it's a guard shack. I don't know. We get a 15 down here. That is ruins. Okay, now this is the fun one. 15 means ruins, and we roll. I'll show you the chart here. So see, on a 1 through 3, it's a single dwelling. And on a 15, we have ruins. So now we roll again on this chart to find out what the ruins are of. And with a 0, 3, we have the ruins of a village. All right, so we'll write ruined village. And that may be the first of our dungeons. We have a 0, 4 here. Rolling the dice 43 times is what Gary would have wanted. Well, I mean, you can't call yourself old school, right? It's not the broad school Renaissance for nothing. We have a thorp, which is a population of 20 to 80. And hey, look, we can even do that right now. 20 to 80. Let's find out. 3 and 4. We've got a little thorp. Oh, what was that? Was that 15? Yeah, we got a little thorp with 80 people living there here in the hills. So we got a little hill town over there. And then with the 4, wait, no, I'm sorry. The thorp with 80 people is right here. So this is our little village with 80 families. And then we have a 16, and that could be exciting. So 16, we have ruins. And 14, so 14, we have a city. So we have a city here. And with 16, we have 2 more sets of ruins. Let's find out. I'm going to do the north first and then the south. So the north with a 29, we've got another ruined village. And in the south, we've got a ruined city. All right, so we're learning something here. We've got a ruined village. And I'm just going to write it over here. Ruined village. And we've got a ruined city over here. And then we've got one more thing. This 06 could be interesting. We've got a hamlet with 100 to 400 people. So we've got a little hamlet with 200 people. And unfortunately, we didn't have any castles. Wait, why did I say that's a city? 16 is, ruined village, ruined city. The 14 is the city. Yeah. No, 14 is a castle. What am I talking about? I screwed that up. All right, so 14, this is a castle, and I'm so glad we got one castle. All right, so let's go over this one more time. We've got a single home here, little single dwelling. Maybe it's a witch lives there. We've got a ruined village, a ruined city, a ruined village. So we've got a hamlet, a thorp. So we've got a total of 281 people living on this map. And maybe the hamlet, maybe that's what we call home. Maybe our expeditions are up here to explore the ruins. Or maybe we start off in this little thorp up here. Not quite sure yet. We do see 209 people showed up for Shakespeare. Hey, that's kind of catchy. Thanks for sticking around, Maximilian Hovar. I appreciate it. It's 281 people on this map that we know of so far. We also had to figure out this castle, and this castle may also be, maybe this is our keep on the Borderlands. Castles get to be kind of fun because you have to go to, there's a little bit of other terrain stuff I forgot. When you've got forests, let's do the terrain stuff first, and then we'll circle back around to that castle. When you've got forests, there is a 1 in 10 chance that the forest has hills, which makes sense because our forests are mostly near the hills. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forests. 2, 4, 6, 8. No, I've got 9 forests altogether. I'm going to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm looking for a 1. So there's a hill, 2 at 3. So there's hills, and there's hills. And we're right here at 4. Negative. We're looking for 1s. Nope, nope, nope. And what about this one? Nope. So a couple of forested hills. 1 in 10 also have a forest when you're in the hills. So now I have to check all of my hills. There's 1, 2, 3 hills there. So on a 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 3. So our hamlet is in the hilly, wooded. Wow, that's a lot going on there. So there's hills, woods, and a pond, and a hamlet of 200 people. All right. Well, I guess they plenty of fish. Now, because there's a pond there, that's the other thing we could look at. We may wind up running our rivers, bing, bing, bing. But again, you could put some roads in here. Now, Gary does have a little bit of guidance there that's a little awkward, where he says, of course, they're going to run off the map. And I'm like, I don't know if that's of course or not. But I do have some more hills. I got 1, 2, 3 hills. I got to find out if there's woods on them. So 1, 2, and 3. So our ruined village is also wooded and overgrown. It's probably been ruins for a couple hundred years. And then there's one last thing. 1 in 20 have a pass which leads through the rain. So these mountains up here, 1, 2, 3. I think that's all we got, right? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 1 in 20 have a pass. Looking for a nat 20. We're going to go 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. So none of those mountains have a pass through them. Easy peasy. Now let's take a look at these castles. And there's a... boy, it would have been great, Gary, if you would have told us where that castle dwelling is. It's in the random. So again, we've got some... Here we go. Psionic encounters. Here we go. Castle table. Size and type. Look, oh, surprise. We have to roll dice. Oh, I see. Crap phone. Okay, if I touch that, will it? No, I don't know how to pin these things. The live chat says, see, it's a Hamlet joke, you see. Only 281 people showed up to the showing of... 200 people showed up for Hamlet. These are the jokes, people. On a serious note, this has generated an interesting map. Yeah, we got highlands, you know, with the rivers. We know which way the rivers are going. All right, but we got to roll percentile dice and see what this castle is. It's weird the way the trends go. With a result of a 90, what does that mean? We have a large walled castle with a keep. All right. Large wall. So it's got an outer curtain wall with a keep. I don't know who lives there. And then we also have to figure out who lives there. Because it is a large castle, we're going to roll on this subchart. Had it been a small castle, it would be totally deserted. And if you look at these, what you'll find is the small castle is more likely to be deserted than the large castle. 60% chance. Well, all right, hold on. The difference between totally deserted and deserted is that a deserted castle has a monster living there. It just looks deserted. But we got to roll percentile dice. Let's find out. 0-2. These dice are wonky, man. They are hot and cold. So 0-2 means it is totally deserted. Roll on the appropriate... What is this? What is this little... See, there's a footnote there. Roll on the appropriate outdoor encounter. Oh, right. Outdoor random monster encounters. We haven't gotten to that point yet. If you get those, then you can roll on the appropriate outdoor encounter. And we're going to use those next time as well, I think. But for today, what do we got? We have a totally deserted castle. Doesn't even have a monster there. Okay, well, that gives us an opportunity, doesn't it? I think we know what our campaign is going to be. Our boys are going to set out to reclaim the castle. The legendary castle of... Hey, chat, tell me what this castle is named. Don't call it Cair Paravel. Call it Père Caravel or something like that. We have... Let's see, we have what do we have? We have the lone dwelling here. We have a ruined city. We have our Thorpe. And we have our hamlet. These are the two. So, and then, of course, we can also have Conisbro. What is Conisbro, Matt? Conisbro? Castle Conisbro. Does that mean something? Is that appropriate? And see, there it is. That's what it is. The ruins of Castle Conisbro. Is it Cornwall Castle? Oh, the Cornish Crusader wants us to be in Cornwall. I don't know. Is this kind of like the west coast of? Well, it wouldn't be Cornwall, would it? We could go with a strong. Who are those goofy mountain people over in Great Britain that only believe in using Y as a consonant? It's late at night, so I'm drawing a complete blank. Welsh. We could go with a strong Welsh theme, right? Oh, by the way, we are going to try to go 1-to-1 time once we get into the adventures. But the point is, we've got a couple of different places where we can start. We could say, hey, we're locals. We come from the hamlet or the Thorpe. This will be our base camp. The other thing we could do is we can come in from our starting point, and we can posit that there is a village down here. We'll call it like a border town. And that gives us 3 possibilities for our starting point. Our safe haven to start as we explore these wildlands is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I think our primary goal is going to be to reclaim Castle Conisbro. 1, 2, 3. All right, this hamlet. Hey, chat, give me a name for the hamlet. What are we going to call this place? This is where our boys are from. There's only 200 people living there. And we'll probably come up with like 5 adventurers to set out. and claim this castle as their base of operations, which would be nice because if they can do that, then we got the run of the place. And it looks like we may be able to carve a road up to there. We may be able to shoot down here to the marsh and build a little Yanbog. Oh, sorry. What Khan is Burr real castle in North? It's a real castle. I'll be darned. You learn something new all the time. Where's my chat? Live chat. All chats are visible. It could be in part of Wales. Yep. That's what I was saying. Cornish Crusade, Castle Forthwick. Oh, that's a good name. That's a good name. First up, we've got Corvusburg. So we're going to call it that. You all know ravens are near and dear to my heart. So this is Corvusburg. And then because we had some other really, really interesting names, Yanbog. How do you do the double L? I only know it. Cornish Crusade offers up Llanbog. And this wooded village up here, we're going to call that. Is it again, I speak Spanish, so Yanbog is the one. And I think it's appropriate. No, that's wooded. There's no bog there, guys. Yendudnau? What does double L sound like in Welsh? It probably sounds like or something completely nonsensical because it's Wales, right? Or it's like ch. LL makes the ch sound, I'm sure. Well, we're going to call it Yanbog, and my notes are getting all over the place. So there is but I'm really happy with what we've got so far. We're 45 minutes in, and we played a little solo game. We generated a little random map, and we've got some feelings here. We've got some stuff to sort out. Ultimately, when you sit down to play one of these games as a solo RPG guy, what you're doing is you put the knuckle bones in the bag and you shake the bag up and you dump it out. And then you have to interpret those bones. And that's what we're doing here. The dice have told us, I'm a little disappointed there isn't more stuff down here near the depressions. We don't have anything in the mountains, like a mountain castle could have been a lot of fun. It just didn't happen. But we had a lot of ruins, which is kind of in keeping with our overall campaign strategy or like our story. It just kind of gelled nicely with our reclaiming this lost kingdom. And the fact that you've got all these ruins in here near the castle implies that whatever happened in the castle was like bad mojo. We're going to start here. We're going to have to generate some rumors for bad guys. We're going to figure out what kind of tribes are in the area, and that's going to be for next time. We'll use the random encounter checks to just determine who already lives in this area. Who will our primary belligerents be? The other thing to keep in mind here, we've got wooded hills and a pond. Oh, maybe we should change it. Maybe we should make that Corvusburg, because that doesn't have a pond and this does. Anyway, what I'm thinking here is there's no roads. All the roads are wildly overgrown. But we're going to set out on an expedition to explore the ruins of the castle. And there may be a dungeon that we have to clear. But as I said, we've got 3 kingdoms, and we're not going to have a kingdom over here. That's like the open ocean, okay? So we've got 3 kingdoms around us, and they have been avoiding this area because of whatever bad thing happened at Castle Konusbau. Boff? O-U-G-H. I'm an English speaker. I'm going to have to ask you guys in chat or in the comments when this goes down. How do I pronounce this word? Is it Konusbau or is it Konusboff? I'm good either way. Next time. We may even generate some stats for our player characters. But look, we had a good time. 50 minutes. We shared an evening's fun. Rolled some bones. Made some choices. Let's go pretty it up. We'll be back. Till next time. I'm praying for you.